Alright, hello everybody, welcome back to Sonic Aftermath. Today, I am your host, Gorgonoth. It has been a long time since I have casted on this channel, Sonic Aftermath. Been doing a lot of other things, been busy for a while, but today I am joined by someone who's been a faithful member for a long time now, casting a ton, Johaviel.
Hello, hello.
So,
Good to be here.
yeah, good to be casting again. And today, what we're going to be doing is the last week. Oops, looks like sorry about the 1 second. I have to. Game's not popping up. There we go. Going to be casting the replays from the last week of the CTL that we were in, which was the round of 6. It was the first round of the playoffs. Unfortunately, we did go down, but I think we had a really good season. We had a tough start. We pulled it out. Johaviel, you were there for more of it. I had to leave for a little bit, but I'm still pretty proud of what we accomplished.
Yeah, we had kind of one of those. Getting into the playoffs itself was one of those like minor miracle things.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. I mean, there was definitely we were down. We lost. We were like 1-2, I think, and there was even less weeks than there was before.
Mm-hmm.
I think last season was 10 weeks, and this was only 7, so was pretty tough.
Yeah, they got more teams and decided to split it into two groups, so the season shortened as a result.
Oops, sorry about this, everybody. Just getting everything set up, and there we go. All right, so if you're ready, Jahaviel, I'm ready to get into the first game, which is going to be our gold match.
Sounds good to me.
Sweaty Heart versus Hilnor.
Alrighty.
Um, it says I can't watch this one.
Oh no, it's because the. Is there a patch that came in since then? Okay, what you can do is, there's a screen share option on Discord. So you'll just have to put the screen share on, and then I'll have to go through Discord in order to see it.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. So let's just where's the screen share mode?
It's if you're looking at the banner for the call in the.
Oh, right. Right. There we go. So you should be able to see.
Not seeing anything yet. Oh, there it goes. Okay, I can see your screen.
Cool.
Excellent. So now we can leave party and just watch solo because patch.
All right, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
All right, well, if everything's good to go, I'll start this game up. Looks like Snoopy is watching here. Also, everybody, if the audio balance is not right, be sure to let me know. I have some new equipment set up, and if anybody's too quiet, then just let me know. Appreciate the feedback. Well, I'll be kind of relying on your knowledge of the meta, Jahaviel, because I have been haven't played StarCraft 2 in a little bit. It's been a while.
Okay. Yeah, I'll see where I can add to that. I'm not entirely sure. I think this is the only game that I know in advance what happened.
Yeah, he did tell me. I forgot to tell everybody, don't tell me what happened because I want to be surprised a little bit. But he told me right after he sent me the replay.
Oh.
Sorry about that. I have to alt tab every time I.
I see.
All right, there we go. So it's going to be on Acid Plant. So this is a PVZ here, and or is it?
I think it's PvP.
Oh, PvP, right. So cannon rushes on this map are decent. It's not, one of the best maps for cannon rushes because the Nexus ramp distance is pretty far. But we'll have to see what happens with that. All right, everybody, to kick off our CTL replay cast in the top corner here, spawning as the blue Protoss, it's the Pulse for BoRnGo.
And in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, as the red Protoss representing PsiX, it is Sweaty Heart.
Gotta work on my intro there. Camera intro. Yep, so Sweaty Heart going with the gate first, actually, so not looking like a cannon rush.
No, it's looking kind of PvZ-ish, actually, based on the gateway placement.
Definitely with the wall. It seems like
actually, on the other side of things, the Pulse is kind of gone for this Nexus first, so...
Wow, Nexus first PvP is very gutsy.
Yeah,
Maybe gutsy's not the right word, maybe a little bit greedy.
I would say it's both. I would say it's, I mean, like any mirror matchup, PvP is a bit, how shall I put this? Volatile?
Yeah. Definitely goes back and forth and can switch up, but there's a Zealot already coming out here. Although the Pulse's probe is scouting, does see what's going on, and he's got a forge up, so looks like he's going for a cannon rush, aggressive cannon rush after Nexus first. Interesting. Those cannons might finish, and might get a few probe kills. The Zealot's just coming out now. Ooh, that's actually a pylon, not a photon cannon, so doesn't look like this is going to do much. That one cannon...
No, there's still one cannon that's not being attacked. So, okay, the Zealot is moving over to that location, so this cannon rush should be shut down from... actually, he's not getting enough DPS on the cannon just yet.
Yeah, he needs to move the probes. He moves the probes over now, gets a wraparound, and only really gets maybe a probe for that whole cannon rush, and that's an investment there. Lost a cannon and 2 pylons. He's already behind. He went Nexus first, so he's at a pretty big disadvantage, and now he can only defend.
5 workers, but he has no transition behind this. There's no no gateway down for the Pulse. So this cannon rush was later. It was on the low ground and couldn't really reach the main, and I don't really think it gained him anything other than some disturbance, I suppose.
Yeah, I would agree here. And, the Pulse, like you said, doesn't even have a gateway up. He's going to have to build some defensive cannons if he wants to hold on, because Sweaty Heart's Cyber Core is already, started, and he's got 2 gates on the way. Even if he pumps a couple Zealots out, that could do some serious damage unless Pulse gets some cannons out pretty quickly, which looks like he is going to do.
Yeah, he's certainly angling for it with that pylon placement. He is getting his gateway now, and he will have a transition of sorts, I suppose. But it's going to be a long game from here, as neither player has really gone for any aggressive options. Meanwhile, the Pulse has this ninja base. I don't know how I feel about this.
I mean, this is just so aggressive, expanding.
Yeah, it's like... So, generally speaking, when you cannon rush, you have to ninja expand in order to transition your expansion, but that means that you don't take your own natural. So, like...
Yeah.
There's like so many things to this that just is not really adding up on either side. But I mean, I don't know. Sweaty Heart is basically playing a PvZ, and he had some disturbances at the start of this game. So it's like, okay, whatever. I'm gonna get my Stargate now. I'm going to get an Oracle out. It's going to do some things.
Yeah.
That's what this feels like.
The Pulse does have cannons, although, especially at the NAD here, he can get an angle on the maybe one mineral patch, and certainly the Geyser here, where he can attack those probes without being in range of the cannon, and I think the same story in the main. So he's aware of that, but he's only producing Zealots. The Cybercore is still not out, so if Sweaty Heart gets an Oracle out here, that could do some serious damage.
I don't really see that as yes, you probably can get that angle, but I don't think many people feel comfortable like dancing that way. They're probably just going to see the cannon and then not bother trying to find the sweet spot.
That's a good point. It does take a little bit more work.
It is in the mineral line itself. It's not like it's off to one side or something where it's really obvious that there's an opening. He's actually getting a Void Ray.
Ooh, and a Fleet Beacon as well.
Okay, so it looks like we're gonna transition into Stargate versus Stargate, or not. I don't. The Pulse is not. Okay.
Throwing down 3 Stargates. He's got 3 Stargates building. Just threw down 2 Robos as well.
Yeah, this is very strange. At any rate, Sweaty is gonna come over with 4 Stalkers, and I mean, there is a cannon there, so I don't think he should engage that. Like, yes, he has more army, but there's enough static defense here that the Pulse can't. Well, okay, he has a Void Ray, so with the prismatic alignment, he has the DPS to get past the cannons. Zealots are not going to get too much done. With this pylon fall, if he were to target it, the cannon would be... okay, good micro, pulling back the Stalker, and this natural will be forfeit. There are 3 Void Rays on the way for the Pulse, and he's going to build some shield batteries at home, or in his main.
Yes.
And, suddenly, this looks pretty good for Sweaty Heart. He just needs to be mindful of the Void Ray count that the Pulse is building.
Yeah, one thing I'm a little bit worried for Sweaty Heart here is he's floating a ton of minerals. He needs to slap down, 4 or 5 gateways right now. He's going to be on 4 bases pretty soon, and there looks like there's an engagement though, and looks like the Pulse is going to lose his first Void Ray here, and maybe his second. Missed micro that being a little too aggressive.
Yeah, I think Sweaty just needs to back off, come back, clean up the natural, and then he also needs to get okay, there's 1 more Stargate. I think he really should get multiple Stargates with how much he's floating. I think the gateways are good, but he would need charge in order to really utilize that.
Yeah, the Pulse's charge is just being started. He's getting some disruptors. So I like what Pulse is going for here. And Sweaty Heart looks like he's being a little too aggressive with this. He might lose both those Void Rays and the Tempest if he's not careful. He's running the Tempest back now, but he's continuing to take shots, not running away. There's 2 Stalkers. Oh, but it looks like he will use a recall on that 1 Tempest. Not an optimal use of recall at all.
Well, I mean...
Had to, but,
If he runs it to a shield battery, it's fine.
I mean, it's true, he saved the Tempest, but now if there's a situation later, pretty in the near future, where he needs a recall, that cooldown.
The likelihood of that is pretty slim, considering how slow the Pulse's army movement is, though.
True, it's true.
Disruptors are gonna be something Sweaty's gonna have to watch out for. That can, so like in terms of composition, they're both going for this mix of ground and air, and so the disruptors can clear out the ground, and then suddenly it's just air for Sweaty Heart. So that's something he's gonna have to be mindful of. On the other side, Sweaty does have Tempest, and Tempest can chip away at things. I mean, both Disruptors and Tempest are kind of investment type units in that they can secure long-term damage.
Yeah, Sweaty's still floating a ton of minerals. He's not producing very much at all. His gateways, he threw down a ton of gateways, but they are not warp gates, and looks like he may just be turning them now. Definitely. Kaminechi still hasn't spotted the third.
Yeah, well, they are still on even bases in spite of that. Well, sort of.
Actually,
Sweaty
yeah.
is,
The Pulse is up a base right now.
Yeah, because Sweaty, while he has his fourth down, it's not complete. Sweaty's worker count is up, and he's finally spending all those resources. So he's going to be angling to take another fight. What does... okay. I think this looks a little bit better composition-wise for Sweaty Heart. So... I don't know. It's a little... There's no Archons in this, and that could really mess up either side.
Another...
like, whichever side gets Archons.
Another thing to note is there is only one observer. If he snipes that, then the Pulse will not be able to see this army. Might not recognize that now. Looks like the engagement's going in. And good angling with the Stalkers from Sweaty Heart, although takes a Disruptor shot there.
Oh, this is the celebration thing. They're doing their explosions with the... Okay. I don't like that recall, actually, because you had the voids. So, you're... Yeah.
He would have lost those Tempests for well, he lost one anyways, so at a certain point...
Like, he just needed to pull the Tempest towards the Void Rays and, like, focus down the one of the Void Rays, and then that should force a disengage, at which point he can retreat. But that's a tough call to make. You know, you're panicking and whatnot. Carriers are going to be on the way now from Sweaty Heart. Both of these players really liking their Sky Toss. And the Pulse is now going to take his gold.
The Pulse pretty on top of his, his macro as far as expanding this game. Been expanding at a really good time. Sweaty Heart being active with some Stalkers, but it looks like a good force of the Pulse might get up and snipe a Tempest.
Yeah, that Tempest has nowhere to run. On the other side...
Ooh, looks like he is shutting down that fort, though, the Sweaty Heart with the Stalkers. And it looks like the Pulse is using a recall. There we go. Looks like warping in sentries and Stalkers here. Sweaty Heart trying to defend, although he is up in army a little bit here. Ooh, up in supply, not in army supply, though. And the carriers are just about to pop. Those will be good, because they will hard counter the Immortal Archon, as long as there aren't enough Stalkers to defend. Both players floating quite a bit here, although Sweaty Heart is really starved for gas. He did not get gas at that fourth expansion, so he is really hurting for gas right now. And it looks like he is moving up across the east side of the map, trying to see if there's a base there he can snipe or expand to that direction. I do like that. Although letting the Pulse get that gold uncontested is a little bit scary here. Sweaty Heart, though, just exploding in supply. The Pulse banking so much here. He's not been producing anything for quite some time. He's got 3 Stargates, and looks like now we'll just start another round. This is something you can definitely see at this level, as the production cycles are just not quite snapping through, and I think Sweaty Heart has been ahead just enough that he might make something really good here happen here. Yep, 2 carriers, producing more carriers. Looks like there are Zealots at the 4th here as a distraction. Really nice move here. He's going to get on top of the production, and he's up in supply a little bit. Army supply is quite close, but once he's on top of the production here, this is just going to be really hard. Recall, there is a cooldown on the recall, so he cannot recall to this base, so he's going to kill quite a few of the producing Void Rays here, and maybe even some Immortals. And now he's on top of the ramp, which is a really good position. The Pulse is charging in here, but it looks like Sweaty Heart has a superior position. He's actually going to use a recall here. Maybe wise, although would have liked to see him take out a little bit more of that production. Johaviel, are you with us? Oh, are you in the call, Johaviel? Did I lose you? I might have lost you. We'll see. Can't hear him. I will sort that out after this goes, and it looks like Sweaty Heart Zealots are coming in here to deny this gold. The Pulse isn't mining as much, although the Pulse's army is getting quite big. He's catching up in supply to Sweaty Heart, although the Zealot harass is really good. It looks like Johaviel may have crashed. Not totally sure. It looks like his screen sharing is not working. His screen sharing might have shut off. I'm not totally sure what happened. Oh. Not totally sure what happened with him there. We'll sort that out in just a sec. But meanwhile, it looks like Sweaty Heart is maxed. He's been on top of his production just enough where he is ahead, and if they do take a one-on-one engagement, actually their army supply is pretty close. A lot of that extra supply is in probes, and honestly that doesn't make a huge difference right now. Looks like the engagement's going in here. The carriers doing work, although there's a lot of Void Rays. This is looking a little bit scary for Sweaty Heart. The reinforcement carriers are doing well, but Pulse is getting a nice angle here, and gonna lose quite a few of these carriers. He's gonna have to retreat. I'm honestly surprised at this, although it does look like Sweaty Heart has been doing a good job massacring the production, rather the probes of the Pulse. It looks like Sweaty Heart is moving up with his carriers, might try to get on top of that production again, although this is a little bit risky here. These carriers are kind of sitting ducks right now. Zealots coming in, attacking the pylon. This is a little bit scary. Things kind of just happening all over the place for... Oops. I'm not totally sure what happened. Sorry, everybody. Getting some weird signals from Johaviel here. I think he may have crashed. We'll see. Pretty much what happened was Sweaty Heart lost most of his army there. Kind of got split up. Took a bad engagement in the middle, although his production is decent. Although he's losing his 4th. This is one of his last fresh bases. The sort of his 4th base over here doesn't have a ton left, and he still doesn't have gas. This has been hurting him for a while. He hasn't been able to bank up as much gas, which is crucial here. And looks like Sweaty Heart is going for a counterattack here. This might get into sort of a wonky base trade scenario, and still banking a lot, both players, although they're producing a decent amount. Here's the recall. This could be quite deadly actually for Sweaty Heart. He's going to lose a lot of this, and Yeah, he's going to lose the mothership. Going to lose all of this here. It's looking really tough for Sweaty Heart. Yeah, this is Pulse looking really good here. Honestly, I think Sweaty Heart, there's not much he can do. He's still mining here, but no gas again. And this is interesting. Alright, I'm going to take a pause here and try to figure out what happened with... Okay, sorry about that. Looks like, yeah, Xenodactyl cut out. I just called him. We'll see what's happening with that and put the game back on. Sorry about that. And it looks like Sweaty Heart's been producing just more stalkers. And moving forward, going to lose both these carriers. Sweaty Heart needs to be careful with these units. They are precious. He's using up the last bit of gas he has to produce them. I guess he's moving across the map with these stalkers for some sort of a counterattack. But once he loses his production facilities, honestly, this is going to really bad for him. Stalkers split up in different forces. I like this, but there's excuse me, quite a few cannons up. It will trade very well for against these stalkers. Although the stalkers getting on the production facilities is nice. The Pulse GGing. What? I do not understand this at all. There's no recall. But their zealots can hold the cannons, I believe. And if the Pulse just turns back, he can deal with this. I don't quite understand this. Warping in some more zealots at the main, not uniformly, and his zealots are out of position here, not defending. Pulse has a big bank too. He can warp in, but not attacking really effectively here. I don't quite understand this. On the production facility of Sweaty Heart, I think he should just turn around. And the zealots being warped in here, the Pulse still mining quite a bit, and he's going to clean up these stalkers here. He said GG though, he might leave, but I would be at a loss as to why. Sweaty Heart, his production is gone. He cannot produce anything else. All he has, oh yeah, it looks like Pulse is a little bit like, maybe, maybe not. The Pulse is mining right now. Doesn't even have blink on these stalkers. He cannot micro them very well. Stalkers just kind of moving around a little bit, getting chewed up by these zealots, and Sweaty Heart's zealots still don't have charge, so what are we looking at here? Yeah, looks like Sweaty Heart's done. Looks like Sweaty Heart is a little bit upset that there was a offensive GG there. I think it may be... I believe that the Pulse was trying to say that he was GGing. Yeah, that was a kind of... It was kind of a unclear boundary there. You know, he could say, good game, then you usually leave. You know, some people do not like offensive GGing. It is kind of BM, but that's a little bit of a fine line. He didn't quite say GG. If you say GG and then you don't leave, that's a little bit different. He said good game, and he wasn't totally sure, but you should say something like that, not an offensive GG. And this is kind of a gray area, in my opinion. Pulse says K. I don't mind that. I'm not sure if the Pulse understands what that means. It doesn't really look like it, or he just doesn't care. But Sweaty Heart said he won. So, kind of confused. Right, not to be offended. Yeah, this is getting a little bit testy here. Looks like Sweaty Heart may have been tilted just a little bit by that. I mean, honestly, it is just like you shouldn't do it. I think Sweaty Heart's like, you don't know what that means. That's a bit of an older term. I mean, not older, but it's something that not a lot of people I literally don't care. Yeah, I don't think Pulse understood that. So now, Sweaty Heart's sort of meta retaliation is to, you know, try to build pylons everywhere. So we turn into this passive-aggressive end game, just mining a little bit just so he can throw down some buildings here and there, I guess. I don't quite understand. Did the Pulse just give him a win here? I'm confused. Yeah, it is pretty rude, but I don't know if the Pulse understood that. It's possible. Listen, sweetheart, sweetheart. I know what. No, it looks like Pulse says he's been playing this for a decade. I kind of doubt that. I kind of doubt that a little bit if you don't know what an offensive GG means. Hey, Joaville, you back?
Yes, the screen share is not on, but
Oh.
I am back.
Oops. It says I can't screen share. That's kind of weird.
Oh,
I'll
must be an issue with Discord right now.
yeah, I'll sort it out after this game. But it looks like there's been kind of some drama right now.
You should read the chat or the message I sent you on Discord.
I didn't see it. Did you DM me?
Yes.
Okay, well it didn't pop up.
Oh. Do you want me to read it to you, or?
Once I guess, because I thought Sweaty Heart won, so I'm not sure if the Pulse just gives him the win.
Yeah, no, what? His opponent was Hilnor, so I'm thinking he sent you the wrong replay, actually.
Wow. Okay.
That is my best guess.
You know what? Okay, that's frustrating.
I'm sorry. But, like, that... Because, like, I'm a little confused, and that was the best explanation I could come up with.
Oops, pressing the wrong buttons here. Yeah, so looks like Sweaty Heart won, and we have a little bit of drama. I'm like, this is quite a bit of drama for a CTL game.
Yeah, like, if this were a CTL game, I would have assumed I would have heard something about this.
I mean, it was kind of a fine line of the offensive GG here.
Yeah, I don't know.
But looks like my computer is having some slowness. But
I'll be right back. I need to figure out what's going on in the house.
All right, I'm gonna get into the second game. Cool, just loading here. So Sweaty Heart won. So I will get into the second game here. Unfortunately, it did send me the wrong replay. Sweaty Heart was Psionic Aftermath. He sent me the wrong replay as to which one he won.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a way to pull it from some alternate source, since I don't think he's on right now.
Yeah, I'm just gonna have to... We'll have to just go on to the next one.
Okay.
Because...
Sounds good.
Who knows when next time he'll be online. So...
Yeah.
Gonna go into game number 2.
That might also explain the patch issue, because I don't remember there being a patch between then and now, but let me log back in. I thought the issue was on my end, but it sounds like it's a Discord issue. At any rate, can you try screen sharing again?
Oh, sure. 1 second. Alright. Oops. Whenever I alt-tab, it shuts StarCraft down, which is kind of frustrating. It doesn't shut it down. It just minimizes it. So I have to. Let's see. Discord wants to share. Choose which screen. Oh, sorry. All right, that should be working now.
All right. Okay. So.
Wow. Okay. Little bit of a false start there. Sorry about that. Yeah, he sent me the right. It was labeled correct, but it was wrong. Oh no! Wait a second. It was a PvP, but maybe Helnor. The pulse was Helnor's AKA. But then why did he win? I don't understand.
Yeah, I have no idea either.
All right. Well, just gonna have to get into the next game, which is Miguel versus Desperoth.
Yeah, we'll figure it out later.
Sorry about that, everybody. Bumpy start. So Miguel, he is been with us for a while. He's actually a French player. He came over and he's been helping out the EU side for quite a while. He's a nice guy.
Yeah, he likes to, or he plays random, and he was running the HK Races War and then HK Clash of Continents, which was this past weekend. So he's pretty active.
I have a lot of respect for people who play random. I could never do it, honestly. Desperoth, don't know a ton about these players. I think last season had a little bit more in-depth knowledge of BoRnGo's roster. They were really strong last year, and this year they actually are in the finals right now.
Oh wow! So, they put in some work. It sounds like.
Definitely, they're very organized, very efficient team, and yeah, put in a lot of time.
Hopefully Discord clears up and has no additional problems.
Oops. All right, everybody. After much delay, we're going to be getting into Game 2. And the Orange Terran here. On Biogenesis, for PsiX, it's Miguel.
And in the top left-hand corner of the map, representing BoRnGo, it is Desperoth.
Cool. So, what do you think about TVZ on Biogenesis, Joaviel?
I think it favors rushes for either side. Terran can wall a little bit easier than Protoss, so the rush distance isn't like disastrous for Terran having to defend like it would be for a Protoss. And then on the flip side, a tank push or something like that can be very effective for the Terran. So I think it favors both, but looks like Desperoth is going to go pool first and take advantage of that short rush distance.
Yeah, being a little bit aggressive here. Miguel, he was playing random for this, correct? Or was he playing Terran?
Yes, he was playing random, and actually, I think there's a gap in his wall, so his racks looks like it...
Ooh, I think you're right. Yeah, there is a gap.
So that's going to be painful in the Like, even when he puts the add-on down, the add-on's gonna come on the right corner, and it won't be in the wall. So I think he was anticipating the add-on to complete the wall, but it won't.
Yeah.
Okay, he realizes something's off. He must have, I guess, with the SEV coming through. Hopefully that's a wall now. I'm not certain, though.
Yeah, I think.
I can't really tell if the other end is complete.
Yeah, now he only has one gap now where the barracks is, but I pretty sure, yeah, those two supply depots will wall it off and getting his FAC out. So pretty standard Reaper opening for Miguel.
Yeah, so Reaper expand the, all-purpose Terran opener.
Nice from Desproth with the Lings to delay the natural, killing the SCV. Nice job, and the Marine actually could be careful, doesn't want to lose that Marine.
Yeah, the fact that there is a hole there actually is kind of scary. Like, if those Lings were to run in, then you're just going to be chasing Lings all day.
Yeah, the Reaper has to come back here, can't do any harassment, has to turn all the way back to take care of these Lings, and meanwhile, still no SCV being pulled. Just there it is. So quite a nice delay from Desproth.
Yeah, this will give Desproth the ability to saturate his natural faster than the Terran, and it's just like economically that can be compounded. The Lings are going to come in again. They have speed now, and the lack of the proper wall is actually a problem. And actually, he's going to have to cancel this.
Oh my goodness. That.
Oh, okay. That is painful.
That's a huge deal in a TVZ right now. Yeah, that's bad.
Miguel is gonna go for some Hellions, and I don't. I understand why he's going for Hellions. He sees the Lings. He needs a reaction to the Lings, but I feel like he almost needs an all-in at this point. Having had to cancel that. And Hellions aren't really an all-in tool. They're more of a harass, snowball option kind of thing. So I don't know.
I mean, if you can do an all-in, not quite an early all-in, but with some, medevac Hellbat pressure. He is going for a Viking first, though. I remember the BlizzCon finals, that Hellbat all-in was utilitized quite nicely, and I think the Hellions are quite a good choice just because for the meantime, he needs to take care of those Lings, and he loses the SCV on the low ground again, although there's a CC building in the main. He finally decided just to play it safe and get it started in the main.
Yeah, I think I just would have been happier with Liberators so that he has something to deal with the Lings and then go into like Liberator siege tanks and make a push off of that once he establishes himself. But he gets the job done. He clears the Lings. He's got that command center now finished, and it is floating over to the natural. But things are just looking really difficult from this state for Miguel. At the very least, he did supply block Desproth by picking off that Overlord. So that's going to buy him a little bit of momentary peace and quiet.
Yeah, and he just threw down the two barracks, so looking to not go into a crazy amount of tank. Looks like Ling's going to be pushed away by the Hellions. He's going to get siege tanks out soon, and looks like with the two medevacs, might try to go for a little bit of a drop timing.
Yeah, there's a lot of Lings out still, so...
Third hatch going down right now.
Yeah, this third is actually relatively late, all things considered. But I mean, it's such a difficult map to, like, you cannot play standard on a bio.
It's
I mean,
true.
You can, but...
You'll get wrecked.
You're asking for trouble, I feel. There's a lot of Ling Bane here, but they don't have centrifugal hooks just yet. So Miguel might be able to, well, okay. Not if he gets trapped by these. Okay, he does pull back and
nice.
pick up just in the nick of time, and will boost away. One Marine is going to be left behind.
Nice little pickup from Miguel, clearing out quite a few of those Lings. Nice, a lot more Lings on the way. It looks like Desproth is going to want to maybe try to make some sort of busting happen, or we'll see what he does.
He's searching centrifugal hooks, so I think this is going to turn into like a mass Ling Bane. I think he feels that will allow him to punish this Terran for not having that economy for so long.
The third hatch of Desproth is up, but he's not droning. Just droning up now, and army supply, he's actually behind. Miguel's army is, slowly but surely getting pretty strong. Miguel might be able to go in for a drop soon, or he might just go out for some frontal aggression with the 2 tanks out, which looks like he's thinking about it here.
Okay, I don't dislike it. I don't know. There's a lot of creep though, so he's gonna have to do something about that first.
Honestly, I would like to see Miguel try to push into the third with his tanks, get a good position up here, and start cleaning some of the creep. Although, it has to be careful. He doesn't want to get... looks like he's actually moving across the map to do just that. He has 2 tanks out on the map and quite a few Hellbats and 4 medevacs, healthy Marine count, and just Ling Bane for... Oh, there's a few Hydras out. Ling Bane for Desproth. Oh, there's...
Hooks is done though, so...
It's true.
Miguel has to be very careful. He certainly... Oh, well, the Zerg actually does see this. There is a changeling there. So Desproth is going to swing around and come from behind.
Oh, the swing around on the tanks. This is so bad. He's going to lose one of the tanks, not even siege, and he's stemming forward, but not really splitting against the Banes. He tries to draw a micro, but that just went really bad for him.
And he's actually going to lose a medevac or 2 with the Hydras and Queens in position. Okay, just one. Hopefully that didn't have anything in it. I didn't quite catch which ones had what. But, as it is, Zerg is going to push across the map and see what he can get done here. There's still a healthy number of Banelings, but there is a siege tank here, and that will...
Nice positioning from Miguel. The supply depot and the tank actually bore quite a bit of that attack, and a nice funnel with the Marines.
What was kind of funny about that is the wall for the Terran was not quite done. And as a result, the Lings bottlenecked through the tank fire.
Yeah. I think Miguel pushing out here he's being a little bit too over-aggressive. I'd like to see him sit back a little bit, get up to a third, or he has actually his 3rd building there, so he is doing that, but pushing out across the map is so scary. You can't really fight into creep, and with that many centrifugal hooked Banes, you can just get rolled so easily.
Yeah, he doesn't really have the numbers to take this engagement, and he's not pre-splitting, so I don't like this too much. Okay, he is going to lose at least 1 tank. He will pick everything up to the best of his ability.
Oh no!
Medevacs to pick up, so he will lose even more units.
We've got to be careful with those medevacs.
He needs to boost out of here.
Yeah, honestly, didn't like that attack really at all from Miguel. I don't think it was a needed attack. I know as a Terran player you're concerned about the Zerg just being allowed to expand unchecked, but, letting him get an expansion while not losing your entire army it's a trade you have to think about making here if you want to be in it for the long game.
Yeah, I think with the nature of a biogenesis, it would have been better to pick up 2 medevacs of just Marines and go start dropping the natural and the main, just yo-yo back and forth. Actually, Banelings are going to come in on this army, and this third will have to be lifted. Actually, there are Hydras here, so I don't know about this.
He might lose that third CC, and there's no other CCs in the main. This is scary, although he might, if he pulls he's pulling the SCVs, but they're going the wrong direction. They're trying to do the repair. Ooh, looks like they will be able to repair the CC. Nicely done. But he might lose everything here with the Bane streaming in.
Yeah, I don't think he can hold this. Oh, that is painful. Just like 5 Hydras make this so difficult for Miguel to actually... Oh gosh. Okay.
It looks like Miguel actually might push these Hydras back, but honestly, the damage has already been done. The wall is down, and Desperoth on 4 bases. The potential here for him to just pump is pretty insane.
So, like, he did a good job defending, but in the process he lost 14 SCVs. His supply is really poor as a result. He has a lot of gas, but I mean, what's he gonna do? Make a ton of Ravens?
Yeah,
Ghosts are good.
It's true.
Are good. They are gas intensive, but I don't really see that in the cards for Miguel.
Yeah, honestly, throughout this game, I think one thing that's been lacking from Miguel is he hasn't used his medevacs to drop Marines at all. You know, I think you said earlier, but even just send a medevac out full of Marines. You know, you haven't really been microing the Marines a ton.
There's no reason to risk the tanks, especially on a bio. And no, okay. Actually, his third is still really vulnerable.
He's probably just gonna lose the third right here. A few more Hydras here. They're gonna be able to DPS it down, and Miguel's just hoping. His Marines have just kind of clumped, honestly. Looks like he's trying to split it a tiny bit here. Ooh, getting some of the Banes. That is nice, but
that's a start.
Oh, stimming down. No, maybe can try to bait out a little bit here. Doesn't want to get any tank-friendly fire. The Bane numbers are thin, but honestly, there's so many Ling Hydra here that this is just scary. Although, not a bad bait from Miguel.
Yeah, that was a really good trade for Miguel. He is going to get in, actually all the Overseers there. Too bad he doesn't have, like, Ghosts to punish the lack of detection even more, but that's a Protoss thinking for you.
Yeah.
Oh, he has no detection. Let me build DTs.
DTs.
Okay, he sees his kind of one opening and is going to push in to this, but there's actually a lot of Lings on the Remax or refill, and it's not the splits you need.
I don't honestly, like, it's a little bit frustrating, you know, because it seems like whenever Miguel makes a good defense, it seems like attacking, understanding the nature of Zerg is that you have such a strong defender's advantage of Terran. I'd say use it, you know, expand more and then turtle up. Honestly, being aggressive for no reason doesn't really help you at all.
Yeah, I think really he goes for an attack off of his defense, and it's like he just pulls his whole army. And I feel like it would be a lot more effective if he just picked up 2 medevacs and started harassing to keep the Zerg occupied. Yeah,
I definitely agree. I think, honestly, Miguel, he's kind of thinking about this a little bit more of like a sort of like a Protoss army where you get a death ball and you push out with the death ball. You know, you get the good micro and you're good. But Terran, you don't death ball. It's a different idea. You can't clump your Marines. They're terrible. You know, your strength is your mobility. You know, with the and the defensiveness of the tanks. That's Terran's strength. So I think, you know, not trying to be overly critical here of Miguel, but maybe understanding a little bit more of the role of Terran in this matchup might help.
Sure. Yeah, Terran it's just not a very easy race to play. Protoss and Zerg are more similar in terms of their macro functions, and I think that's the difficulty of playing random. It's like there's always that one race that's your Achilles heel, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's why, like I said, I have a lot of respect for, top random players, because you have to know, like, all 5, whatever, 6 matchups there are in the game in depth, to really be good at them, and it's hard, and, it's tough, so I feel for Miguel a little bit here.
Sure. Yeah, well, he has a nice positioning, kind of in no man's land at the moment. He's not on creep. He's can't really be. Well, I mean, he can be, but it's difficult to find a angle into this tank line for the Zerg. He's not doing anything with it quite yet. Just kind of rallying more troops across. And maybe he can clear some creep or get that 4th. Who knows? I'd actually, with this style, this push style he keeps going for, if he were to draw a single medevac full of Marines and drop them somewhere opposite on the map, that can open up a lot more aggressive potential for his pushes.
Yeah, I mean, this may not be totally accurate, but I feel like almost Miguel, he's kind of playing like a mech player. Like,
Okay, yeah, sure, I can see that.
This is if this was Hellbat, if that Marine supply was Hellbats, this will be a lot better. They're beefier, they can withstand just runs from Ling Banes better, and tank Liberator tank, this would be great if all the supply was, lib tank Hellbat.
Desperath is max, and he is going to start an engagement with his Hydras. And
actually a nice hold from Desperath.
yeah, that cleaned it up pretty well. Well, okay, there's still Ultras here, and there's no Marauders or Liberators or Ghosts, so they're going to put in a lot of work. They do get all the tanks, but they do fall. Yeah, okay. So one reinforcement tank does come up, and it's kind of like this now or never for Miguel.
He's stimming in here. He's so weak, though. And honestly, Desperath, he can pump so many Lings here and just clean up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice hold against the Ultras, but the thing is, you can just, as a Zorg player, you can switch so fast into just, rallying 50 Lings across the map, and then,
He had such a good tank line, but he didn't have anything to actually... So the tank line really allowed him to deal with the Hydras, but he didn't have anything to deal with the Ultras. So the Ultras, they just were like, oh, those tanks kind of tickle.
Yeah. And this third still exposed, doesn't really have any static D at all, and with Lings pouring in here, gonna lose all these SCVs.
I think this is a nail in the coffin. Like, Miguel's done such a good job holding on throughout all these attacks, but this is just, like, you need an income.
Yeah, I mean, I think Miguel had a little bit of an opening there when he held with that tank line really well. Just go back and turtle, Just...
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's been so many times where he's just lost all his tanks, and I'm not really sure where he, like, with the style of attack he was going for, I'm not sure where that was the correct answer.
One of the things I was thinking about a little bit is that Abiogenesis is actually, for Terran, is a really hard map to get a third secured. Because all your thirds are on the low ground, and they have quite a few attack paths into them. Compared to a few other maps, I think they're, at least from my observations, the third is harder to hold than other maps, because they're on the low ground, and they have quite a few attack paths into them.
I think you just have to play a little more forward and probably get a faster supply depot wall for the third. But yeah, it is a little bit tougher, I think. I don't think it's like...
Certainly not impossible, but it's something
Yeah.
you have to consider when you're playing in
Right,
Biogenesis.
yeah. Anyway, Ultras are going to come in and they will allow Desproth to clean up almost all of this Terran force. And I think Miguel is going to tap out here.
Yep. Looks like Ultras munch on those Marines, and looks like GG's called. Miguel will go down to Desporoth. Well played by him.
Yeah. Ultras, very scary unit.
Alright, so gonna get into our third game here. Oops. Trying to open StarCraft. Being a little bit slow to open up again.
Oh, is it having you exit out of StarCraft and re-log in order to watch the replay?
It's being very slow. I think it does that every time I select a replay. It's logging out. I think you can probably just see my loading screen right now on my desktop.
Oh yeah. Okay.
It's kind of weird. I don't like that format, but
it does that with old patch stuff. I don't understand why they haven't found a way to deal with that, but I don't understand how it all works anyway, so
yeah.
I just know that I can build units and build buildings.
A move to win StarCraft.
Yes,
it's
sort of.
Protoss. Oh my goodness, why is it taking forever to open? It's frustrating. Alright. Hopefully, guys, I'm going to take a really quick break while I wait for that to open. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back.
Alrighty.
So, our next map is Daunted, correct? Let me see. Warbuff?
Yeah. Daunted is Diamond 2, so we should have another Platinum.
Right. Okay. And Warbuff, the one he sent me was just... Double check that. Make sure I don't open up the wrong replay again. Yep, okay. Okay. Okay.
Oh,
So,
nice one.
on Blackpink. So this is our second platinum match.
Yeah, I feel like I actually know a good bit about both of these players' playstyles for once. So I would be. There are things that they could do that would surprise me, or if they didn't do certain things, I would be surprised.
Yeah. Wow, it's game 3 and it's already been quite a while. We'll look about an hour in. Alright, everybody. Into game 3 of the CTL replay cast. In the bottom corner here on Blackpink, it's the Blue Protoss Warbuff.
And in the top right-hand corner of the map, as the Green Terran, it is Haswasser.
So, PVT on this map, quite a big open map.
Yeah, it's pretty decent for tanks. Like, you can siege the tanks at the third, or high ground third for the Protoss, and then they have a free shot to the natural, and it's really difficult to engage that. I don't think we'll see that out of Heißwasser, but this is CTL. Who knows? Maybe his coach decided, hey, you should do this instead. We are going to get a proxy Rax.
Interesting.
And, this may be proxy Cyclones behind this. Has he taken gases?
Yes, both of his gases are up.
This is looking like proxy Cyclones from Heißwasser. He likes his Cyclones. He does different things with his Cyclones, but I have yet to see him play a PVT or TVP where he does not build at least 4 Cyclones.
I mean, Cyclones are really good.
Oh yeah.
Especially against, I think, this plat level. Microing your units, if you don't have a really good, comfortable control of your gateway units as a Protoss, Cyclones can put an end to you really quickly.
As it is, he is going to get scouted. I think Warbuff was already suspicious when he saw the main, and now it's just a matter of defending.
And the swap's going to be coming up pretty fast. The reactor is up, and a Zealot being produced ahead of time, and the Cyber Core just going to be finishing up. And now, does not have any chronos. This is kind of a big deal. He spent his chronos on the probes. Would have liked to see him save it for the stalkers to get those out a little bit quicker. And the switch happening right now. A Reaper being produced for stalker out, and the Robo Bay as well being produced.
Yeah, so I think at this point, Warbuff has all the tools he needs to hold on to this, especially with his shield batteries coming down. He just needs to have some decent micro, and another thing is that if Heißwasser expands behind this, Warbuff needs to kind of match the speed.
Yeah, the robotics facility up, Immortal going to be produced, and most likely chronoed out, so nice play from him. Has a Stalker and a Zealot out. The first two, Cyclones and Reaper are out. There's 2 shield batteries up. I like this positioning of the buildings by Warbuff here.
Okay, our Green Terran is going to come in and try to get some damage done. The Stalker is going to fall in spite of the shield batteries. Probes are pulled, and Terran will back off. I like how he's brought this barracks over to give him high ground vision. The Zealot is going to engage. The shield batteries are there. Really, Warbuff is just buying time for this Immortal. Once this Immortal comes out, as long as he has a couple supporting units for that... Oh, it's unpowered though. And suddenly this is looking kind of ugly for Warbuff.
That was a huge Artosis pylon for Warbuff, and now there's pretty much nothing he can do. Looks like he was maybe had a chance there, but with no Immortal, there's no way he can defend this.
Yeah, there's nothing is powered. The only thing that is powered is shield batteries, but he has no army, so what good are the shield batteries?
Nice play there. So, I'm no expert, but there's a couple things I think, like I said, the Chrono, he scouted, and then he dumped another Chrono into probes, and that hurt him because his, stalkers were late, a little bit late. He only had one stalker and one zealot out in time to meet the Cyclone push, and, it's those little things that make a big difference.
I think he may have also been supply blocked. Like, he dropped 2 different pylons, and that... I didn't actually check the supply, but I'm wondering if that was, like, oftentimes when you're supply blocked, you kind of go, oh shit!
Yeah.
And suddenly you're dropping more pylons than you actually needed, because it's like you needed the first one earlier, and now you're thinking, oh, well, I'm gonna need more, and yeah.
Overcompensate, yeah. So... we're going to be moving into our diamond set here. Going to be playing Daunted, who I believe is in the chat right now, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Daunted, he's been playing for us for so long, and he always has an amazing record in the CTL. Like, last season, he surprised me constantly. Like, he just has a way of winning games. It's just, it's kind of surprising, like, he doesn't, he doesn't always, play the most orthodox style, but he just has a killer instinct, and just seems to close out games crazy, especially in the CTL. He's such a valuable player for us, and, he often plays up a league, he in the D2 slot, but he often will play, or sometimes he's been a D2 or D3, and he's played D1. He's not afraid to go up against those tougher players.
Mm-hmm. Well, it looks like it's going to be Furious Styles as his opponent. Generally a cheesier Zerg. I don't know if Furious Styles does other things, but I know that I've seen a lot of different kinds of cheese from him. So I think it's going to be up to Daunted to scout his opponent and react properly.
Certainly, and in the bottom here, the green Zerg for BoRnGo, who has a comfortable lead right now. It's Furious Styles.
And in the top left-hand corner of the map, as the blue Terran representing Psionic Aftermath, it is Daunted.
Man, we're getting good with our intros. The observing, the swirl. That's one of the things I miss about casting Brood War, is that you can't do that.
I see.
Can't get that perfect. Yeah, I mean, I think you're definitely right. I haven't, been kind of out of the loop and, have a hard enough time keeping up with our own players to, remember all the play styles of, different clans. But I do remember, watching Furious Style in the CTL quite a bit. Definitely not afraid to be quite cheesy, quite aggressive, and Daunted as well. Like you said, with different Cyclone pushes. Daunted has liked his Cyclone pushes too. Now that was before some of the patches that did nerf Cyclones a little bit, but still, I've seen him do. He likes his pushes, his early game pushes, and subsequently, I think his later game macro has not been on point, but I think in the mid game, it's where he really thrives.
Sure. Well, so far we're getting a pretty standard opening from Furious Styles. He's gone Hatchcast Pool, and we're just gonna see a normal start to this game. That doesn't mean he won't go for like a Nidus or something a little bit risky as the game continues.
A Reaper expand here. Now, what do you think about this map, Neon Violet Square, in a TVZ situation?
I think it's a really big map. The Neon Violet Squares kind of make it difficult for Zerg to engage if Terran is entrenched, but it's also very open aside from the squares. So if Terran is caught kind of in the open, then it's a little bit annoying. So it's hard for either player to really muster up a mid-game push as a result. They certainly can, but the map doesn't, it makes it a little bit coin flipping in that regard, depending on where that engage happens. I think it's also pretty good for drop play, considering there's a lot of dead space by the kind of to the left of the Zerg main. Yep, right there. And there's a lot of different paths that everyone can kind of get at each other. So it lends itself to a macro game with a lot of harass options. But yeah, we'll see what exactly develops. The map is not like... I know a lot of people don't like Neon Violet Square just because of these squares, but I don't think that is like the biggest factor on this map. It's just annoying.
Yeah. I mean, I think one of the biggest things about this map is that the third, it's a little bit dicey, because if you do go for the pocket expansion, of course, you'll be down in minerals. And this third right here is a little bit open. It's not a, really easy hold. Terrans can push in quite easily, get a nice position. So I remember casting a series, quite a few games of some, GM level Zergs, and I definitely think that if played correctly, Terrans can really use this map to box a Zerg in and be quite abusive.
I would agree with that assessment, especially considering, like, even if you take the quote-unquote safer third as the Zerg player, and that being that pocket base, in the back, yes, this one, like, you just open yourself to a lot of drop plays since you're now set up in a triangle instead of a line.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
So, like, it's not exactly safer. It feels safer in terms of a frontal assault, yes, but that's not the only option within the Terran arsenal.
Daunted getting a Viking out, clearing some of the overlords, and it will actually supply block Furious Styles. Nice move by Daunted there, and Daunted going for some mech here. Looks like at least a fair amount. Getting another barracks, actually, and going for libs, though, which I like on this map.
Okay, I can see that. There's a lot of places that the libs can really just hide away if you're not able to get in all the damage you'd like, and just come back later. So, Lings are going to find their way in. There are Hellions to greet them, though. So Daunted will be just fine, and these Lings will be shoot out. Third is just about complete for Daunted. Will have to float over to whichever expansion he so desires. His positioning implies he might take that low ground third, but we'll see once he floats it.
Yeah, that low ground third would actually be pretty interesting here. I think it's definitely easier to pull off as the Terran instead of the Zerg. You can't really take that as a Zerg, because then the Terran, can just march up here, get really good tank volleys. But for the Terran, it's a little bit easier to defend because of these big rocks right there.
Yeah, I think in both cases, if you take the low ground third, you're gonna either need to put a tank or a lurker on the high ground.
It's true. Yeah, the Hellions moving out here, and he's going to establish this third. Quite a nice timing for Daunted here to take this third. And both players just comfortable playing pretty standard. We talked about how these players are good with cheeses, but this is just a really normal game. We'll see who makes the first really aggressive move. I have a feeling Daunted might try some multi-pronged aggression, some drops, some lib play. We'll see. Or maybe just a little bit of a frontal attack. Getting an armory here. So the Hellbat pressure, you know, there could be a very real thing here.
Yeah, I think what may have happened was both players kind of looked at this map and said, wow, it's huge. Why am I going to go for a cheese and then have no, like, fail-safe because the map is so big?
It's true, yeah. And, I mean, I like this from both players there. It's showing some patience with the game here. We're learning to evolve. I mean, nothing wrong with cheese, but you won't progress as much, you know, rather than grinding out the hard macro games here. And this push up here with the Hellbat transform is pretty nice. I like this split. That was kind of a weird back split there, but looks like he will get out of it fine, although the queens are pretty healthy. Daunted's force is thinned a little bit.
Yeah, I think he could have traded better had he set up off creep and then inched forward. But as it was, he made the best of a difficult situation, and he will get cleaned up. But it wasn't for free.
Yeah, he lost. Furious Styles lost maybe a queen, some units, and I think the big thing there is Daunted kept both of his tanks. You know, when you're facing Ling Hydra here, tanks are really the X factor as far as how good the Terran's going to be. So,
Sure.
saving the tanks, smart move. I'm not sure if he intentionally did it, but almost sacrificed a Liberator to save the tanks there, and wise choice there if that was intentional.
Yeah, tanks for the Terran are a little bit like robo units for the Protoss in that it's the backbone of the army. You can lose all those Marines. You can sort of lose some of your starport units. But if you lose the tanks, if that count is reset, it gets a little bit difficult to establish yourself as you push into the mid-game and late game. Eventually, you're going to want to trade out those tanks for other things, but generally speaking.
Yeah, and this is such a good map for tanks. Ooh, Daunted scanning, gonna get a decent siege position here. Those Hydras don't want to... Moving forward, and they're just gonna get melted by several tank volleys there.
Yeah, there's no banelings in this composition, so I think this is, well, actually, he slightly overextended so that his Marines were fighting outside the siege tank volley line, but he does kind of regroup and Zerg will disengage. Both players just kind of not wanting to overcommit.
Yeah, Daunted, oops. Oh, didn't quite clear that one creep tumor. That's unfortunate. Although he needs to be sieged here, he cannot move in. He's getting a little aggressive. I do not like this. Is a little bit over aggressive. And now he's going to lose these tanks, which is a bummer. He does have some more tanks at home, but this is pretty huge, losing this force. He's using his Marines as best as he can to slowly funnel some units back, but he can't...
I think that fight went pretty okay for Furious Styles. Like, yes, he lost his Lings, but trading Lings for tanks, sure, why not?
Definitely. Yeah, and now I'd like to see Daunted. He needs to get those tanks in a siege position, and these squares kind of getting into play here. Furious Styles' army's a little bit split up. He's not paying tons of attention.
Speed on these Hydras, so he really should not move out. Stim is going to kick in, and Daunted will catch himself a good number of these Hydras.
It was nice. Those Hydras really just sitting ducks here. Kind of the fight seesawing back and forth here. Marines got to be careful. Wants to wait for the tanks to get up a good position. Although he's trading really well. Daunted splitting decently here. Baneling's morphing, but decent focus firing there. Nice splitting. And Daunted is moving up here with a good number of Marines. As long as he gets those tanks in a good position, I think he'll be fine.
Now the Neon Violet squares, or at least in that last engagement, the Neon Violet squares were allowing Daunted to kind of pre-split by design.
Yeah, definitely. That was a map feature that definitely worked in Daunted's favor, and we see this so much at this level. Like, it's the over-aggression. Like, I think Furious Style had a good fight there, but then just really over-aggressive there and pushed out and wasn't paying much attention to his army, and now Daunted may pull this out. We'll see how well the tanks are, but he's definitely taking that base. He's definitely an advantage, and there's a drop. I mean, a group of Marines up at the third, putting in some work, and now Daunted's looking so good right now.
Yeah, this split aggression, even though it's not that far apart, it's still something that the Zerg has to answer, and he's gonna lose pretty much all of his drones at that location.
Just shelling away.
I don't know how. Yeah, I mean, Daunted is max, so this looks really good for our blue Terran.
I mean, Furious Styles has been floating quite a bit of minerals here, and Daunted has been really solid. So Daunted's macro is gotten a lot better since the last time I've seen him, which it was a long time ago, but really solid. Gotta hand it to him. This game has just been looked really clean.
Yeah, and there's the GG from Furious Styles.
Another check in the W column for Daunted, as is his usual style.
What we've come to expect.
Yep. And our fourth match is going to be, actually fifth, excuse me, is going to be from our captain, Volticus. I'm gonna check the chat real quick. Need to pull it up on my second monitor. Oh. Looks like we got some viewers. Cool. Looks like Furious Style was watching that one.
Yeah.
That's nice. Alright, everybody. So, Volticus Mondiolita. On backwater.
What base is Mondo?
He is Prudos, I believe. I'm 70% sure of that.
Okay, that sounds right.
This is an interesting map for PvT. You know, it's not the biggest map, but it's pretty it's sizable, and it's definitely a map that I think plays into Volticus' style. We'll kind of see here, but Volticus, he plays a bio multitasking heavy. Sorry, I was a little bit far away from the mic there. Multitasking heavy bio style. So lots of drops, quick run-in, snipes.
Yeah.
Multitasking is a little bit of an understatement as far as Volticus. So, Mondolita, you know, I think his keys to success this game are staying alert, you know, having good minimap presence, not losing too much to the drops, or because Volticus, if there's a weakness you have in your game and your awareness, he will pick it apart. And
alrighty,
here we go into the final diamond set.
I think there's one more after.
Actually, you're correct. The second diamond set. It is BoRnGo's Mondiolita. I'm sorry about that. Look like lagging a little bit.
And in the top left-hand corner of the map, as the red Terran representing PsiX, it is Volticus.
3 cheers for Volticus, our captain. And Volticus is D1. Wait, did he make D1?
Yes.
Yeah, he's make D1. That's correct.
He's been very close to Masters, on and off throughout the last week or two, I want to say.
That's right.
Exactly his MMR is at the moment, but I know he was close.
I feel like watching him, it's kind of like the playstyle of his playstyle. It's almost like his strength can also be a little bit of his weakness. You know, I've seen Volticus win and lose a lot of times, but his multitasking ability, you know, gets you to high diamond because it's so good. But at a certain point, you know, to get into Masters, I think players start to know how to react, know how to respond to that. And playing really defensively sometimes can give you an edge against Volticus. Now, that's kind of a generalization. You know,
Sure.
it's certainly not one-sided, but it's just something I've noticed Volticus as his really, really solid multitasking. I think to break into that cusp of Masters, which he may, it's might have to expand his game a little bit, which I'm sure he is and is doing.
Yeah, I think it really just comes down to being able to macro behind the drop play a little bit more. I know it's something he's been working on, and it looks like he may be going for a build he was learning from Kuna Matata. I saw he took a fast gas, and if we see some Marauders and let's see here.
Yeah, concussive shells just started,
Yeah,
so
okay, concussive shell has started. So what this is going to be is a large bio timing around 6 minutes with a good number of. I think there's going to be a pair of medevacs that kind of catch up to the army. There will be more bio than can fit in those medevacs, and so it will allow him to kind of go into that split attack force should the frontal assault not pan out.
now the first Marauder is revealed, which, you know, it's a little bit telling here. Not crazy, but he does know that if he is aware of that build, then he will be able to react to it accordingly. Now he's getting a robotic facility, he's getting an observer first. If he's going to be able to defend this, he's most likely going to have to get some shield batteries and immortals up at the front.
This is nice positioning on the Marauder. It's not going to survive, but at the very least it doesn't go down for free. Or was that the Reaper?
That was the Reaper.
Yeah. Same idea.
Yeah, true.
It's a little bit more costly. Actually, it didn't get anything past the shield damage, so... oh well. Good idea.
Volticus using these little tall grass for hiding his Marauders, and you know, Mondelita's getting one shield battery, and he's getting his Twilight Council. So far, still no immortals here. That's a little bit worrying. If he doesn't suspect this attack, then, you know, immortals wouldn't totally make sense if he wasn't suspecting this attack. But this observer coming in should tip him off.
I think it's really standard for Protoss to open with the observer first and then get an immortal behind it, if they're kind of worried about some sort of frontal assault. The shield battery is enough to hold, but I'm not so certain he realizes that Volticus has gotten concussive shell. That Marauder may not, like, he saw the Marauder, but it didn't have concussive shell at the time. So he may assume that's just defensive for Blink. Because, like, a lot of Terrans, like, you either have a Marauder or a Cyclone, because Blink Stalkers will just ruin your day otherwise.
Yeah, this is interesting here, because he has full vision of this army here, and he looks like he's supply blocked right now. His first immortal, which is already super late. I mean, he got 2 obs and waited for a long time, and he's getting Blink, which I'm not sure is the best tech choice. He's supply blocked, and this is just really bad.
Yeah, this is relatively standard coming out of Mondo, and I don't know if, like, that's the point, right?
It's standard. It's not against this particular build. He only has 1 shield battery, and may only have 1 immortal, which probably isn't going to be enough. The one thing he does have going for him is the observers here. If Volticus could scan and kill, that would be nice. So he will have tabs on the army and should be able to see when it moves.
Oh yeah. He is getting some additional gateways now. So actually that won't finish in time. This attack is gonna be underway momentarily. Can we see the starport?
Two
Okay,
medevacs
so
building.
yeah, they're just about done. So Volticus should be moving out. And okay, things are relatively normal.
Only one shield battery. There we go. The move out is happening. Mondolita has vision of this, and is he gonna react? Doesn't look like it.
He knows or at least he should know. He's gonna throw down a second shield battery. I feel like this is a little bit late. He is warping an army as well. He has a second immortal. So with that second immortal, I think this frontal assault is not going to find any. Well, it is Volticus. He has pretty good micros. He's okay. Yeah, he's going to pick up the medevacs and move into the main, seeing the army there, and he will unload.
Ooh, there's that one Artosis pylon.
If he gets that Twilight count, okay, well that works too. Just pick off the pylon.
And meanwhile, a force is going into the main, gonna do some work on the third. He's getting on top of the production. Mondolita's forces are getting split up so hard here.
Yeah, Volticus is gonna clean up everything in the main, and if he gets that pylon, oh wow, he's done a lot of damage. Okay, 1-1 does complete, and charge is still not researching because no pylon. But this one immortal is trying to get things done, but he's losing so many probes. Mondolita is in hot water.
This is insane here. Yeah, not like you said, the multitasking of Volt picking Mondo apart here. Interesting. Yeah, I'm not sure. It's kind of weird. He had the obs, which I found the obs is still at Volt's natural. He needed that obs, or at least a second obs, maybe outside of his base, because you got to expect that's happening when you see the medevacs, that some sort of drop will happen. So I think an error by Mondo.
His assumption was that because the bio exceeded the medevac capacity, he assumed that it would only be a frontal assault. And once that was the case, Volticus just kind of like, oh, well, that doesn't mean I can't split my forces.
Yeah, it's true. Very nice play by Volticus. Crisp timing attack that hit. Very good time. And even though Mondo had ample time to prepare, couldn't quite make it happen. Although I'm sure in the future he will be ready against this.
All the pylons are down, and Mondo is going to tap out.
Well played by Volticus there. Nice win. So our Terran's doing pretty good. Well, 2-1. Miguel did fall. And looks like we're going to be heading into our final diamond set now. So that will be Snap XT versus Shask. So is EVZ here. First ZVZ of the night on Catalyst. Ooh, this is an interesting map for ZVZ.
I think Catalyst is perhaps the most standard of the maps. It's at least the most standard of, like, the small medium maps.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I feel like, Seraph 2 maps, to me, standardness is kind of hard to judge. It's just so different from each person's playstyle.
Sure.
I do see what you mean, though. Compared to some of the older HOTS maps, it does seem pretty similar to that kind of grid. But for PsiX, in the final diamond slot, the Red Zerg, it's Snap XD.
And in the southeast corner of the map, representing BoRnGo, it is the Green Zerg Shas.
And already we've got a aggressive pool by Snap and Shask looking to go hatch first, which is interesting here.
I would consider this kind of standard from both sides in a sense. Snap is going to look to be the aggressor and try to put some pressure on Shas. I'm not really sure what the since I'm not a Zerg player, I don't remember what the amount of damage he needs to get done in order to justify his opening really is. But ZVZ is so volatile, especially as you reach that Ling Bane stage of the game. And the game can really just turn on its head. A lot of games don't always get past that phase.
It's true.
So,
Snap XD going for Ling Speed 2. Now, normally in this scenario, in this diamond level, I would say the advantage goes to the Zerg with the slightly more economical build order, because typically the micro is not always there for the aggressor Zerg to make it happen. And it looks like Snap, though, very smart, he almost avoided the Overlord's path. He may have. Snap wasn't looking. Now the looks like the pool is up for Shask, and Lings are out, and Speed is started as well, but this actually might force a cancel. We'll see. Not a cancel. Some deny.
so you might get the kill on this. There's like 6 Lings in production, but that's production. That's not on the map. Meanwhile, for Snap, he does have Lings chewing at this natural. And, I mean, I'm not really sure how Shast is supposed to hold on to this.
Yeah, Speed is done now. This is pretty big. And decent sort of a SimCity for Shask. Can plug some of the holes with drones, and he has to get a Spine Crawler. But yeah, like you said, a Queen morphed the Nat, and that's going to die. That's huge. He should have canceled that Queen. Definitely.
The 2 Banelings are here for Snap, so he can actually use these Banelings to lock out the Lings while his Lings of Shast while his and he will kill the low ground expansion. Spine Crawler is finished, and Snap is looking for an angle.
Oh, nice detonation. Only wounds some of the drones though, and Spinecrawler doing decent work, and it looks like Shask might barely hold on, but did lose the hatchery, whereas Snaps is about 2/3 done already.
Yeah, so I think at this point the game can stabilize, at least for the moment, as Snap is transitioning. He is going to lose a couple of these developing Banelings, but well, actually, this is suddenly gonna swing the other way, as Snap did lose pretty much all of his army at the front here, and Shasta is gonna go for the counterattack. He has lots of Lings, he has 1 Baneling, and there's only a Spine back for Snap. So here comes the counterattack. It will straight into the main, and suddenly things are looking very scary for Snap.
Yeah, this is interesting here. There's some Banes morphing from Snap right in the main. Gets a decent destination there. And looks like some more Lings from Snap. I don't know. It's a tough call there. I might have liked the Snap to try to put some pressure on that hatch. Hard to say, because that attack really didn't do much at all.
Yeah, I think he goes into the main because he doesn't, if Snap has Banes morphing on the high ground and they just roll down before the hatch dies, Shast gains no value whatsoever. If he goes into the main, however, he might be able to pick off a Queen, he might be able to pick off some drones, there's more guaranteed damage that way.
It's true.
But Snap is going to swing back over, and he was nibbling at that expansion, but did not force a cancel. There are Banelings here, so Snap has to be careful. His own Banelings are not quite done morphing. And, okay. Well, that was anticlimactic.
Yeah. Now that was interesting because that's true what you said, but I think now the danger, we seem to have finally maybe reached. Ooh, big detonation there. Finally reached a stabilizing point, or not. We'll see. Snap XD. I should call him Snap. I don't know why I'm saying his full name. Dancing around, but Snap has some Banes at his main. So, and the Roach Warren as well. I like this. Being a little planning ahead a little bit. Might try to make something work off 2 base.
He's trying to stabilize, trying to transition. Like, the Ling Bane phase of the game is definitely an important phase, but it's certainly not, like, you can overcommit to it, and not transitioning is definitely not the hill you want to die on.
Mm-hmm. It's true, yeah. I think Roach's wise play from Snap, and what do we have at home? There's 1 spine for Shask. Of course, looks like he's going to be getting a Roach Warren of his own right now, but will it finish in time before Snap's push? Looks like he's pushing out now with the Roaches rallying across. I think there's 6 Roaches total with quite a few Lings, or might just be content to wait back and...
Can we see Snap's vision? Particularly at the... Okay, so he doesn't see that Roach Warren. So that's a little bit unfortunate that he doesn't see that Roach Warren. Had he seen the timing of that Roach Warren, he might decide that, oh, I can get this timing with my own Roaches. But as it is, it's just going to be normal. He's going to scout the 3rd and realize he should have some kind of advantage. I don't know if he knows exactly what position he's in, but things are looking good for Snap, all things considered.
Yeah, he's up about 5 drones. He's up in army supply. I think some just better trades, honestly, with the Ling Banes have been good. And although, Defender's advantage is a huge deal in ZVZ
that's true.
With the spine. So that's a question. I'm not totally sure. Will Snap... I don't think Snap can force in. He does have a lead, yes, but he may... I'm not actually... It's kind of hard to read, I'm not a ZVZ player.
Yeah, sure.
And these things are hard to read.
He's going to move across with his Roaches. I feel like this... Well, there aren't really Roaches out for Shas just yet, so...
There's a few in the main. There's actually 4.
Oh, okay. He has a few, but...
Oh, this is not a... This is a kind of a weird attack from Snap, not attacking with his Lings, and now he's eating quite a few Bane shots on the Roaches, and...
Yeah, I think what he was doing there is he wanted to save his Lings for after the Banelings of Shas were dealt with, and as it is, he is going to clean up all the Banes, and his Lings do run in, but with these 2 Spine Crawlers, Shas will hold.
And now Shast has quite a sizable army advantage, about 30 supply. The concept of that attack was good, I think what you're saying with the Lings, true. But, not executed very well. I think Snap being a little bit...
It may have been better to send, 4 Lings ahead to kind of soak up the Banelings in kind of different fashion, right? Now Snap is going to get a lot of spines as he realizes that there's a large force of Zerg coming across the map. He does have his 2 Banelings here still. But I don't know about this.
Yeah, this push chain, he's morphing some Ravagers already. This is nice. Shask has quite a sizable Roach advantage here, and there's only 1 Spine up right now. If Snap can hold on while the Spine's finished, but I think Shask, he's getting on the ramp, gunning down that Spine, and the Roaches in the main might be able to make something really nice happen. Nice focus firing the Roaches, not taking a Bane hit. The Roaches in the main, though, what will they be able to do? Get a Spine, but not sure if that's going to be a best use of his Roaches. This is kind of interesting here. Now, this is kind of a wash now. Shask had quite a sizable army lead, and he kind of... threw it away for... this is now basically we're about even, except for the big fact that Shask has his third up.
Yeah. The third behind this for Shast can definitely swing a sizable advantage, especially since he does have that worker lead. Snap is going to start to catch up just now. But Supply is in favor of Shast, and in mirror matchups, I think Supply is definitely something you have to watch even more so.
Mm-hmm.
Like in a TVZ or a PVZ, for example, Supply can be heavily in favor of the Zerg, or distinctly in favor of the Zerg, and still be a relatively even game. But once you have a mirror matchup, because you have the same units, because it's mostly the same composition, it's very important to be more even.
Yeah, Shask as well. He has an upgrade lead, and he's going to have +2 about the same time Snap has +1. That's something to consider here. If both players are content to stick with Ro6 here, an upgrade lead is going to be huge. And Shask with a army supply lead, like you pointed out, quite big. So I think Shask right now, if he doesn't do anything too over aggressive, he's going to be in a good place. Now, Snap's getting a Lurker Den, which I like this because I think Lurkers are a great unit to use when you're behind a little bit. Set some traps, use them well to defend positions when you're behind, and you can get some really good gains with them.
Yeah, so Lurkers are supposed to be countered by Ravagers, but I think it's really hard to get those biles off on the Lurkers. Just because you don't always have vision of them, and then if there are Hydras anywhere in the Lurker player's army, getting your Overseers somewhere that you can spot those Lurkers that you need to bile is going to be really frustrating.
It's definitely not a hard counter. It's, a counter that requires a ton of APM and focus. So, not something insane. But here we have the fight maybe taking place before Snap can even get any Lurkers out. Lurker Den just finishing and gonna morph them. Shask was maybe thinking about diving in. Actually really would have liked him to dive in there. I think he had a lead and he has an upgrade lead, so why not at a certain point?
Yeah.
3 Lurkers.
He doesn't know what we know.
Yeah, true. 3 Lurkers being morphed. Good step. Hydra's coming out for Shask. Yeah, I think he is a little bit... He's banking a decent amount. His minerals are pretty low. Both players have been macroing pretty good. And Shask producing some Hydras. Now, his army, he's about 40 supply up. And Snap, attacking in with this Snap is not... It's kind of scary. Lurker Den of his own starting for Shask. And we'll see if Snap can make anything happen here.
Lurkers are going to burrow, and this will secure kind of, it functions like a tank. He did lose one before they were able to entirely burrow. There is Overseers here, and no Hydras, so,
wow.
That is a great concave for Shast, and suddenly things are looking terrible for our Red Zerg. What is Snap supposed to do from this position?
Honestly, yeah, I think it's too much of a deficit for him here. Like Lurkers, I think on this map to use them effectively, they're just better used defensively. The offensive push with them didn't make a lot of sense from Snap. I think waiting Shask, because now Shask knows that he's going heavy Lurker. I'm not sure if he saw them before, but if he didn't, then he can use them defensively for a surprise without a lot of Overseers, and they can really be good. But now it's pretty much Shask can just overpower him here.
There are some Ravagers, but Ravagers are... I think Snap is going to tap out at this point. There's just too much green.
And it looks like it's going to be tied 3-3. going into the final match series from our Masters player, Sigil. Well played by, I mean, it was honestly quite a seesaw game. I think there were opportunities. Both of those players could have, both those players had opportunities to win, and, you know, honestly, could have gone both ways. And entertaining game, though. Fun's easy. And I started up our second game. Our final series. Sigil versus No Waifu. And this is our master set, of course. I said that. And going to be on our first map, Eastwatch.
Alrighty.
In the top corner here, for BoRnGo with the series tied 3-3 on match point, it's No Waifu.
And in the opposing corner, as the purple Zerg representing PsiX, it is Sigil.
Sigil is not someone I've seen a ton of games from. He kind of replaced Salavanth, because Salavanth dipped down quite a bit in MMR, and I think he did good earlier in the season. And yeah, I haven't seen a ton from him. I'm interested to see what his playstyle is like here.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with him either, so we're kind of casting this blind a little bit, I suppose, but that's okay.
Now, this map, Eastwatch, it's such a huge map, and
yeah, I think also it favors a Terran mech against the Zerg army, so we'll see if our pink Terran goes for something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. Mech is so good on Eastwatch, and this is a map that is definitely orientated, I think, towards macro play. It's got thirds that are relatively easy to hold, as compared to some other maps. Honestly, getting up to 4 bases isn't too hard for some players if they're playing defensively, and there's so many bases that some players like to play this map, just sit back and kind of wait for a big engagement at the end.
Oh yeah, there's maybe, I'm not entirely certain, but I'm pretty sure this map has like the most expansions out of anything in the map pool.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I like that they have this variance in the map pool. It can get, honestly, the smaller maps. I remember some of the map pools before seemed like just kind of frustrating. Just seemed to favor some of the shorter micro games, and I'm really glad that this made it into the pool.
Sure. So standard from both sides. Reaper is just kind of patrolling for the front, not really wanting to commit into anything. Expansion hasn't quite gone down for Sigil, but he still has time before that's like indicative of anything. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of different expansion timings for Zerg. Okay, and he is now going to move over with that drone and take his third. Wings kind of clearing the way, making sure that Reaper cannot pick off that drone before it turns into hatchery.
Just a kind of a 1-1-1 situation here for no wife, and Hellions, just going for Hellions here. Getting some map presence is crucial on such a huge map, and going to be going for the starport with a tech lab, so Libs. Or Banshees, actually, with the cloak being researched. That's the interesting play.
Banshee is a pretty common follow-up off of Hellions. I think normally, though... Oh, okay. He still has the... Okay. I saw the add-ons incorrectly. What I was... So, at least Sigil does scout this, so like there won't be any surprises. He should get some spores down, and it's something he's familiar with. Nothing too out of the ordinary. Definitely can still get some damage done for our pink Terran, but it's not too out of the ordinary.
No big surprise.
Coming.
And then with the armory coming up, definitely no wife going for some mech. Wise choice on this map, and maybe he might be trying to make some sort of Hellbat Banshee push workout. He's got the armory up, and the cloak is done now. Very soon, and this actually, I like the look of this. There's quite a few roaches though, so he needs to be careful. He doesn't just take a engagement. That's not really in a good position here. He's going in with the Hellbats. What will he be able to do here?
And she does cloak. There is a spore crawler that is offering detection. Queens are trying to deal with the Banshee.
Okay.
He will push this back. Terran is going to have to look for another angle.
Okay, I like this from No Wife. Just, respecting that roach force here and not being too over. Well, we'll see, though. Might be being a little bit forward here. Might lose a couple Hellbats there.
About to run out, and the Queens are swinging over. Okay, he will pull back before that expires. Behind this, No Wife, who has gotten a Kellizer depot, and he has some more Hellions, and he's definitely going to commit to his mech play as he is getting 2 additional factories. So we should see some like Cyclones if he wants to go for like a mobile force. Alternatively, that can be siege tanks for a more like encampment style.
Yeah. The Banshees coming out, producing some more Banshees is interesting. I'm not sure, he's switching into Vikings, of course, now. But with 3 Banshees out, I actually like that a lot. Banshees are something that, even if you don't have a use for them immediately, they can have some real utility later on, especially if, all the air support all the anti-air is gone, and can, be a nice little play there. And
yeah, it's a different kind of harass unit that, because it's an air unit, it can maneuver around all of these blockers a lot easier than, say, the Hellions. So Hellions have to take a distinct path, and that can easily be scouted, whereas the Banshee, with its cloak, with its maneuverability, can kind of show up somewhere that you may not be expecting.
Now, No Waifu is taking this mineral base instead of this gold here. I'm not sure if... I don't know. It seems a little bit odd, because the gold, of course, will get you some more resources faster.
The immobility of the Terran, especially going for this mech style, he's kind of opting for the, quote, safer option. Like, he's walled off that third very quickly, whereas if he were to have to defend that gold, the distance from the natural to the gold by ground is kind of long, and then it can also be interfered with due to these rocks.
Yeah, it's true. Sigil, though, has a pretty scary army advantage, though, supply lead, and I'm actually a little bit scared for Waifu's third if he doesn't get his tanks in a good position soon, and it looks like Sigil is pushing out that way. Waifu sees this is happening. He's bringing the tanks over. He might get them sieged in time. Looks like he will, but this is still a little bit scary for him here. There's a lot of Ravagers, and those depots will go down instantly. Ooh, game is freezing a little bit. Sorry about that. Might have been an internet issue. And there's a little bit of a bottleneck there, so good tank positioning. Sigil just choosing to back off, not taking anything too hastily.
scan goes down, sees the positioning of the roach force that is swinging around, but it actually has split into two groups, and I like this in that he can kind of look for that opening, but our pink Terran has kind of matched him step for step, splitting off, and oh, that was interesting.
Yeah, almost.
Trying to bow down those Banshees, but not quite getting them.
Yeah, those Banshees have actually caused him some issues. Oops, sorry, we're freezing here. It might be a net issue rather than a computer issue, or I don't know, not sure. But yeah, getting some Hydras, he will now be able to combat those Banshees.
Yeah. A lot of good creep spread going on these attack paths for the Terran to poke into the natural or the third, but there's not a whole lot of creep for the fourth just yet, so that is a little bit exposed. Fortunately,
Blue Flame Hellions getting into the third here. This is huge. Getting some massive drone kills here. We'll clean that up though.
yeah, he does get that, but let's see, that puts Sigil down to 54 workers against the 74 of the Terran. So, that was definitely a good thing for no waifu.
Finally.
Hydras are gonna snap up these Banshees.
Oh.
Ravager pushing into this tank line. I don't know about that.
Yeah, he was being a little bit indecisive here. Honestly, what I'd like to see Sigil gets here is some Lings, honestly, just to run into those tank lines. Give him some extra mobility here. The Roach force, honestly, the Terran force is just as mobile, if not more mobile, than the Roach Ravager force here. And this map is so good for mech that I don't think Sigil can get anything done here with this force.
Yeah, I think if he wants to use this force, he needs like a Nidus, something that can really outposition, and yeah, like that spot right there would be perfect.
Yeah, I was thinking about Nidus this area, but he like that. Well, having trouble speaking. That fight right there, he basically threw away tons of supply because to him to even get close enough to engage, he's already in tank range. So then to pull out, he's basically losing more than he has. So it's basically a catch-22. Once he engages, he's going to lose a bit anyways. And I really would like to see, like you said, a Nidus, and he's getting the Lings there, so he was listening to me. And but looks
listening
like
to you from the future.
And the wall will be up though, I believe, and this probably won't do a lot. There's that with the orbital there.
Oh, there's a crack, but
yeah, the orbital's pretty good at defending, and honestly, I'm a little bit scared for Sigil now. The supply is tied, army supply that is. Actually, he's ahead in total supply as well, and unless Waifu makes a huge blunder, like. Yeah, I think he's pretty good. Like, this actually is catching him on siege, which is sort of good, but
it's into a concave.
Yeah.
Now there's files go down, but they don't even clear a single tank. And suddenly the entire Zerg army just melts.
Yeah, that is rough for Sigil.
So now the mech force is going to push into this fourth base for the Zerg. Drones are running away, but a lot of them will fall in the process. And suddenly, this is looking potentially game-ending.
Yeah, I honestly don't think there's a ton Sigil can do. He did get a 5th up here, so he's mining a decent amount. So he has enough to definitely, reproduce at least some army, max out.
Yeah, he's just getting Vipers now, and I feel like these Vipers are kind of late to the party. Like, he was on this Roach Ravager, Hydra force, and that's a good mid-game comp for the mech, but in order to take it to that late game where he needs to stop this mech force that's maxed out and knocking on his front door, he needed these Vipers already with the energy.
Dark Swarm.
He does actually have a good number of Blinding Clouds. That is a pretty clumped up tank line. So had he not lost so many Roach Ravager, he may have been able to clean up. But I don't know.
Yeah, that's like you said, the Blinding Clouds were good, but there wasn't a lot to follow through there in that
he wasn't
concave.
able to capitalize on such a good Blinding Cloud, and now the tanks are still alive. They're going to push in. These Vipers are desperately looking for more energy, but actually the Roach Warren is going to die.
A little bit of a mistake there, but
awkward.
I think Sigilus is his last push in. He's charging in. Good Dark Swarms on the tanks, and the Ling's getting on top of him, sort of, but there's so many tanks at the backbone here that pushing forward is so hard.
Too. Just make this so...
GG is called. And no waifu will go up 1-0.
That was definitely the right style to play for this map. Coming out of no waifu. Man. Yeah. I'm not really sure what, where Sigil went wrong exactly, other than, like, what you mentioned about how he was being indecisive. I felt like he was in a really good position at a certain point in the game, and it just slowly, like, he just stayed there, and Terran kept advancing in terms of the tech.
Yeah, I mean, I think Sigil was just a little bit too aggressive there when he didn't have the tech to back it up. He should have waited for, honestly, engaging that many tanks, you just can't do it without Blinding Clouds, you know? And
Sure.
And then by the time he did get it, as you said, they were late to the party. He didn't have enough to back it up, and I also would have liked to see him maybe utilize, more Lings, more Ras, Niduses, that type of stuff. Because, I mean, a one-on-one mech fight, Terran will win any day.
Yeah. All right, Game 2, Neon Violet Square. We could see almost the same thing. Neon Violet Square isn't terrible for mech. You can't push it as well, just because the lanes are not as nice as Eastwatch, but we'll see.
Yeah, I definitely feel like mech's pretty viable here. And in the top corner here, from BoRnGo is up a game, and if he wins this, it will put BoRnGo into the semifinals for the playoffs. It's no waifu.
And in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, representing PsiX, it is the purple Zerg Sigil.
So if I'm Sigil in this game, I'm thinking, man, I felt like I did pretty good in that last game, and the Terran just seemed to have too many tanks right off the bat. So if I'm him, I'm wondering if Sigil's going to want to try to put on some more pressure early in this game to try to stop that really threatening tank ball from really getting established on this map. Because this map, it's not as textbook on paper, as good for mech as Eastwatch, but it's still a mech map. And if you let the Terran player get that number of tanks, they will rip you to shreds. There's really no two ways about it at this point. So I think that's Sigil's priority if he wants to turn this game around.
Yeah, he can look at it that way and kind of go for a cheesy type build. Alternatively, he can just tech faster. Really, when it came to that last fight, he did finally have Vipers, but he had traded out his army. So, had the Vipers been sooner, or had he saved his army, he, with those Blinding Clouds, he could have cleared at least half the tanks, if not more. Other than Vipers, he could have gone for Swarm Hosts and continued to reduce the tank count with those Locusts coming over the walls and whatnot.
Yeah.
And like we did say, there was the Nidus option. I think that's kind of what you're thinking, is a Nidus will stop the Terran from getting to that maxed out composition. And I think stopping a maxed out Terran mech is definitely not something I would recommend trying. It's doable, but why?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm trying to say. Like, not cheese, but there's Nidus, there's Ling run by. I mean, I don't think Sigil built Lings honestly in any great number until the very end.
Yeah,
push
that's true. That's true.
All the good Zergs I've watched have really used Ling run bys to their advantage because there's low risk. They're low risk.
Look at the way. So, if you give Terran 4 bases, that's all they need to max out on mech.
Yeah.
And if you look at the layout of Eastwatch, where were the Lings supposed to run by?
The gold was open for a long period of time.
Okay. So that was a missed opportunity.
And a Nidus as well. I mean, of course.
A Nidus for sure definitely could have.
So, I think there's two keys. Is one for Sigil, be a little bit more aggressive with the be a little bit more aggressive and then tech a little bit faster. But
Sure.
I mean, other than that, I think Sigil played a good game.
Yeah.
His macro was on point, really, and was expanding. Well, a fast Raven, this is a bit interesting here. Not going to want to go for the Banshees. Raven is interesting here. Now, can you maybe fill me in? There have been some changes to the Raven. Are auto turrets still the same as they used to be?
Yes. The primary difference between the old auto turret and the current auto turret is that they can't be thrown. They basically fall down underneath the Raven.
Oh,
so
that's actually
pretty big.
pretty
Makes the Raven a little bit more vulnerable if it should decide to go for that kind of auto turret harass style. It doesn't mean you can't use it for auto turrets, and it looks like he probably will based on his Raven movement, but it's not as free energy damage as it used to be, since you can pick it. You have an easier time picking it off.
A lot of Hellions coming out for no waifu here, and I'm a little bit worried. That third, that's pretty vulnerable third. I mean, that's a lot of Hellbats. The Roaches need to get up here ASAP, and this Raven, what will it use here? And there's Queens getting up here.
It might actually throw a interference matrix down on like the high energy Queen. Oh, he's gonna go for the anti-armor, and that was a nice shot, really weakening all of this. Well, he missed a couple of the Roaches, and that will allow Sigil to clean up the Hellion force, or Hellbat force rather. So all in all, that was okay for the Zerg, I think.
Yeah, definitely worked out in his favor. I mean, the only thing he really took was some hatchery HP and a couple of Roaches, whereas no waifu lost pretty much all of his Hellbats. Kept the Raven alive, crucially, but yeah, not.
Hellion is going to hit the natural. We'll get the Queen that was damaged and a couple of drones, if not more. There's not really a reaction just yet. Okay, he brought his Roaches back, so that will clean this up. But gosh,
only 5 drones going down there. The targeting was kind of weird with the Hellions.
Yeah, I guess they weren't really able to line up and get synchronized shots. The Banshee does come in and will be shooed out by the Queen and Spore.
It actually can attack that hatchery out of range of the Spore.
Okay. It just wants to sit there, I guess.
Wasting its crucial cloak time there. Actually, that's a pretty big mistake.
Spore is going to have to move, and Queen is dancing. Will go down.
That's a nice pickup from Sigil there. So far, this early aggression from no waifu has not been
not really paying out as nicely as it did in the previous game.
Definitely, yeah. This is a big opportunity for Sigil here to come into the mid game a little bit ahead.
He has this other Banshee here that's also kind of just taking a coffee break.
Yeah. The cloak usage has been kind of willy-nilly here, not really prioritizing it, using it very effectively. And I think, honestly, the decision to make those extra Banshees is not super wise here. He has plenty of spores with queens, and might be a little bit of a waste of resources.
Nah, I don't know. It's, okay, he is going to get at least some creep tumors, that's something. But, roaches are... okay.
Hydras are just coming out now. So, yeah, that is one nice utility that the Banshees did get the creep tumors before the Hydras were out. So, I guess not a total loss from him.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like that consolation prize. You really wanted something else, but oh well.
Yeah. Now, I mean, there was some losses there, especially we can see the loss tab. He's lost a ton more. But that's nothing I'm really concerned about as far as no waifu. What I think this is Sigel's moment.
Nice.
Oh, that is nice.
Kind of stifle in the Zerg gas income, at least momentarily. I don't know. I think as a Protoss player, that would be a lot more annoying. But,
yeah, I mean, that's just a nice little pickup, I guess. It's
yeah.
Sigel's gas is not totally being used. The hive is up, being produced now. So what I really like for Sigil to do is not attack until he has a Viper, honestly.
I mean, based on the way this is positioned, if he were to take the high ground, there is no tank there at the moment. So if he were to take the high ground and kind of eat away at this mineral line, that is a harass location.
Mm-hmm. I think right now no waifu is going to...
Actually, now that these Thors are trying to clear this, he really shouldn't do that.
And this is interesting here. Vipers may not be the, miracle unit that we're thinking now, because with the Ravens and the Thors are just going to both really hamper the Vipers' utility.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Sigel's going to have to think about this a little differently. Maybe some more Ling Banes, which I think he's getting. He's getting the Baneling Nest here, which I think is a wise choice.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen Rogue go for Bane Bane heavy composition against mech. I think it's it takes a lot of perfect engagements in a sense, but it can be incredibly devastating. Because if you lose, as the mech player, if you lose your army, you're basically dead.
Mm-hmm.
You spend all game building that, and now it's gone.
Yeah, it's true. Now, Noifu's Hellions coming in here and getting quite a few drone kills. This is really nice harassment. And
the blue flame is really paying for itself. Lots of drones go down. Maybe not as much as he had hoped, but still a good number.
And we've got 4 Vipers out now, which I like. And, okay, I really think this attack could do something. It's going to be hard, but if he pressures this base here, I really see a way for Sigil to get back into this. If he waits for the Vipers, he's not waiting for them. Here they come. Okay, he just needs to back up. I think he kind of revealed his hand a little bit too much here. He might be swinging back down and trying to take that low ground base, and now it seems like Noifu's a little bit out of position. Ooh, this is interesting here.
Siege tanks are coming back over, and Vikings are trying to zone out the Vipers.
Oh, we've got some nice abducts here on the tanks. Blinding Clouds as well. Doing pretty decent. Oh, not the best, though. Didn't quite stick with it in that attack.
I think he looked at how deep the tank line was and decided that it would be better to find another angle.
Yeah, he lost another Viper there, unfortunately, and...
Oh, free tanks! No!
Yeah, I think if he swung back, it might have been a little bit too late. Although,
Yeah, that's true.
no waifu is pushing out a little bit here, and his army's a little bit separated. He needs to be careful here. Yeah, there's no siege right now, and honestly, this is some free kills. There's nice concave.
Around on that protruding mech force.
Okay, Sigil backing up here. I like that. He's being...
Neon Violet squares are going to save him momentarily.
I like how Sigil's playing this. He's being cautious and waiting for Nwaifu to get isolated. Nwaifu is isolated again. His troops are marching around the squares and not with all his force at once. Sigil not taking too much there, just chipping away.
It's kind of turning into a little bit of a chess match where you're moving your pieces back and forth to find that engagement that you really want.
Yeah.
Sigil is going to get on top of all of this, and we'll claim this second force up. Too much of the mech force is trapped on the other side of the squares.
And some Hydra forces coming in here, getting some nice SCV kills, sniping a few tanks as well. Really nice multitasking. We're starting to see that harass now from Sigil. And I really like the way he played that. Honestly, that push out was a tough push out for Nwaifu, and Sigil waited for it perfectly.
Yeah, well done maneuvering his army and really avoiding the danger of the Neon Violet squares, not fighting in them, and really utilizing the open space.
Oh, the tanks! The tanks are way out of position here. These tanks are fresh meat for Sigil here. Ling's wrapping around. Nice Dark Swarm on the tanks. And
Good
this is...
Cloud.
Oh, Blinding Cloud, sorry. Getting mixed up here. And, yeah, pushing forward. That was such a great pounce by Sigil here. Nwaifu's tanks way out of position.
Shooting everything down. And, wow. Okay.
Nice. This is the patience from Sigil that I'm glad we're saying now, because this is how you play a really good, Roach Hydra style, and he just won. Nice win from Sigil.
Yeah, slightly different mech comp coming out of Nwaifu, and I'm not so sure that's gonna work so well if he were to try that in this 13.
Well, the Thors are interesting because that adds more units that can get out of position very easily. Thors and tanks, they're great in position. But if they're out of position, I mean, it's kind of like a duh moment, but, if they're out of position, they can just get roasted really easily. And also Thors can get abducted. So, abducts on tanks are good, but when you have that many tanks, they're not the greatest. But Thors are such a big chunk of your eco that it's actually a pretty big deal.
All right. Catalyst.
Thanks to everybody in the chat for tuning in and watching it.
The ad form mech, but it's also not the map that you think of mech necessarily.
Yeah, I mean,
you definitely have your lanes, and as a result,
I think
they said like 5 of the 7 maps are mech friendly, this being one of them.
Yeah, I mean, I think this map is definitely good for drops as well.
Sure.
The base is in a line, so. But I think Nwaifu is comfortable with mech here, so
sure.
I'd be surprised if he went in a heavy bio switch. I mean, although that could confuse Sigil, so it'd be an interesting choice.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. The loading bar in natural habitat.
Alright, the very last match, everybody, of our CTL season. As good as it was, it must come to an end. And the man who will do it, it is BoRnGo's Nwaifu.
representing PsiX as the purple Zerg in the northwest corner of the map. It is Sigil.
He did say that when he was playing this match, he was pretty tired, and both those games, they were, I think, past the 15-minute mark or just up to the 15-minute mark. So this is definitely a really stressful, this late game TVZ. It's really stressful and can frankly really wear you down when your things can rest on so much. Just a overstep, you can lose the game. So playing this matchup where you're in late game mech, playing against mech is definitely tough when you're tired.
Yeah. Drone gonna get some harassment done. SCV will be pulled. Drone will run away.
The drone. Looks like the drone. Nice micro there. Gets first blood.
Yeah, that was kind of funny. So the SCV was blocking the geyser so that the drone couldn't morph. And then the drone said, oh, well, if you're going to do that, I get a free hit.
Yeah. And it was weird. Like, the SCV had a passing hit or something, so it wasn't totally full damage. That was interesting. Fun worker micro. But just a Reaper expand for No Waifu. And both these players opening up with their standard openings.
Alrighty. Overlord going to come in, see what it can see. No anti-air here to shoot away just yet. Meanwhile, Reaper is going across the map. We'll just kind of stay at the third, wait for that drone that inevitably... Oh, actually, just kidding. It's gonna swing over to the front of the natural and begin its patrol.
Yeah, nothing really different at all. Either of these players. I guess one of the differences in this map from the others is busting the net is a little bit more doable, I guess. I mean, it's still hard, but if...
And there's a much shorter rush distance.
Mm-hmm. And it's also not up a ramp like Neon Violet Squares are, and Eastwatch as well. Both those maps had ramped naturals, so busting that, really difficult. Whereas you have a little bit of breathing room if your Terran player isn't spread out too forward with his tanks. You can make some sort of bust happen. Just another option for Zergs that's not really feasible on Eastwatch or Neon Violet Squares.
Very true.
And we see that Tech Lab starport again. And it's going to be Banshee Cloak again, which the Overlord will see. So, the Banshees from No Waifu have been pretty good. I mean, haven't been amazing. He's never gotten tons with the Banshees, which honestly, a good Zerg that's on top of its scouting will, typically not lose tons to those Banshees. And Sigil is no exception. Although, nice Hellbat. Will stop the third for Morphing. Very nice. Morphing.
He does also kill that drone, so that's going to delay the third considerably.
The Queen's going to have to come out here and bully it away. And, yeah, diving into the min line, just poking around, seeing what it can see. And, so yeah, delayed third. Nice from No Waifu. There's a few Lings in the Nat, but with Hellbats there, not even going to get a SCV.
Oh well.
So, yeah, gonna switch just everything normal for, except a few less Hellions, I think. He's getting his tanks out a bit earlier from... He's stopping at 4, or was maybe 6 total, 5 total Hellions, which is interesting. He's gone really Hellion heavy, which hasn't always worked. He's kind of thrown him away a few times. So I think this is a nice number to stop at and get his tanks out a little bit earlier. A nice adjustment
just
there.
has enough to defend any lane aggression that may occur, and gonna take a faster third, and just, you know, play it out, kind of passive mech style.
He's actually, you know,
It's actually some considerable damage. I think this is gonna have to be cancelled. I don't see a Overseer here.
and these Hellions, I mean, they're transforming Hellbats. This is a huge oversight here from, I mean, a Banshee DPS is not too bad, and this is probably going to be canceled here. Loses one of the queens, probably two. Yeah, going to lose. Ooh, might just barely escape, but will have to cancel the hat trick. That is so huge. Although Sigil, nice response. Already started a hat trick, third over at his alternative third. So smart from him, not quick on his feet making that decision.
Yeah, that can be punished though if the rocks are knocked down. It's a little bit like Eastwatch in that you can be cut off from that location.
It's true. Yeah, I think if Sigil gets away with that not being scouted for a little bit, which there's a good chance he may, I think that could be pretty good. And now Waifu could be thinking that a third base Zerg is actually 4, and that could be interesting. Or actually, a four base Zerg is actually 3, rather. Waifu is getting his third as well, sending that on over, and the Overseer gonna dive in here, see what he can see. We got Viking production out, although this is a really nice Overseer, just keeping tabs on everything. Not much of a surprise here, you know, going mech, but just seeing the exact fact count and...
Banshees are going to find that expansion, and they do get a queen at least. Maybe a second, actually.
And honestly, this DPS here, these Banshees have a little bit of cloak left. This is so scary. If he loses this space, this would be so bad.
Yeah, it's looking really obnoxious for Sigil trying to hold a third base.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, transfuse.
That is so unfortunate. Although,
that's painful.
Luckily, he does have his third up over there, so kind of an insurance policy, but still losing it like that is unfortunate, honestly, at a time when he's looking to get his fourth anyway at this point in the game. The Banshees all are out of cloak, so he might be able to maybe get some of them with the queens. If he targets down the weak ones, if all 3 of those escape, that would be so unfortunate.
I think he's going to lose this hatch too.
Oh my goodness, this is honestly getting ridiculous from Waifu. He sniped 3 hat trees already, 2 that were alive and canceled 1. That's just absolutely obscene, frankly.
Oh man.
And now Waifu has a very comfortable mech force that...
he's probably going to push out before maxing. Like, this is such a comfortable position for the Terran. There's like, he has so many openings.
Yeah, if the Terran pushes out around here and gets a good tank position, then Sigil could be in serious danger of losing another base.
Just getting a really hard, or having a really hard time establishing himself into the mid game.
And actually, no, Waifu looking to just turtle up, get his 4th CC. Honestly, this is... He maybe could make a push out work, ended a little bit earlier, but honestly, this is just, I think, the...
Well, he has plenty of time before maxing. I mean, if he hits at 180, what's in that Overlord?
It is a Hydra and 3 Roaches, which is an interesting choice.
Oh. Okay.
Not sure what he's hoping to get done with that, but...
It's a harass option.
Yeah. Thinking maybe Bane. Infestation Pit up as well. Some fungals could be nice. Infested Terran, well, for some harassment. There's that Overlord coming in. We'll see what it can get done. There's actually a Thor that just morphed. Might be able to shut it down. See how fast his reaction time. Might just go for a add-on or 2. Be the tiniest bit annoying.
It's something.
Yeah, it's something. If he doesn't get that, then that would be... Oh my goodness, is he not going to get it? Okay, he gets it. It was burning down anyways. But... And Sigil getting his 4th now. at probably around the same time that Waifu is going to be getting his 4th as well. And now Waifu's pushing out here with a 30-plus supply lead. And so many tanks here. Sigil, honestly, it's tough, you know. He's been able to defend the Banshees so well earlier. I don't think he respected the power of 3 Banshees, the DPS of that, and that really hurt him. I mean, I think he was on a really good footing after losing that first hatch. He could have made that work, but then losing the next 2 is honestly just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, it was like one thing led to another. The first Hellion came out, it killed the drone, and then so the 3rd was just late. So then when the Banshees come over, with the support of the Hellbats, there's no way he's gonna hold the developing hatch because there's no creep spread. And then, like, he tries to get over to that other location, but it's a little bit awkward.
This is actually a pretty good fight Sigil is taking. He's gonna probably clean this up. Nice biles on the tanks,
Yeah.
but and we'll see. But I think honestly, Waifu can kind of just stream. We'll see. He did take that 3rd out.
Yeah, he takes the 3rd out, but Zerg has defended at least this first major push.
I don't think, Sigil pushed out there with his last couple Ravagers.
But there's still more mech.
Yeah.
That wasn't everything. It's gonna be hard to stop the second one. I don't know what Sigil has for this. I think he's gonna lose another base. He knows that he's evacuating his drones.
Yeah, his econ's pretty low. At this point, the main's almost mined out. Well, actually, it's a decent amount left. It's only been 12 minutes in. But, well, that's because it got shut down for so long. So I'm like, really, the main should be a little bit more mined by now.
Ravager Hydra is trying to swing around from the back, but I don't think they're going to find anything. Looking for some reinforcements, I'm sure, but this is a very painful position. The tanks are cutting off the natural from the 4th, and there's just not really a good way for Zerg to engage there. Yeah,
this game is over pretty much, and unfortunate from Sigil. I think, you know, I feel like he has the potential to beat Waifu, but, you know, when you're playing a mech player, I feel like Zerg's just, they gotta be on their toes so much because, you know, a mech lead, you can snowball so much. It's kind of like the Zergs, I mean, it goes both ways. I think in the second game what really happened is Sigil had a lead, and he turned that into a snowball, which, you know, once Waifu moved out, he pounced, and in this game was a very convincing lead with the taking of the bases, and now expecting a tap out any moment now. Sigil may just, you know, sometimes when you're losing, you just kind of want to take it to the last second, kind of contemplating, or GG, there we go, and BoRnGo will take a narrow 4-3 win over Psionic Aftermath. I think a really good series, and again, really proud of everyone who played. We, like you said earlier, it was a really good comeback from the first, 3 series which we lost, and or was it 1-2 or something like that. Making it to playoffs was good, and only one game away from the semis, but nothing to be ashamed of. Sigil, I think we got a lot to learn on. And next season, I'm sure we'll be right up in there in the running again.
Yeah.
So, unless you got any final words, Johaviel, I'm going to call it a night. And, yeah.
I think that's it.
All right, cool. All right, everybody. This is Gorgonoth, and I will see you guys later. Take it easy. Okay.